MP Francisco La Cruz is speaking on the previous statement. The meeting of Parliament on crime on the island. Defending champions lead the next generation as registration opens for the 47th St. Martin Heineken Regatta. Now you know with Valerie Van Putten, Guest Deputy Director of SCV, Elton Felicie, MP Lyndon Lewis, Minister of Justice. But you can fool some of the people some of the time. From the island of St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for July 14th, 2026. MP Francisco La Cruz, speaking on the floor of Parliament. I'm going to start by echoing the same statement that the Speaker made. I thought this meeting would have gone differently. Sat here listening, and I got somewhat very rotated. I have a perfect, in my opinion, working relationship with the Minister of Justice and her staff. But what I heard today, I don't even know what to say about it. Minister's last quote behind every solution named today. Is it a family that needed it sooner? Let us not do this. Let us do this work together so that every year the number is smaller. And the year after that, small again. We are here today because we called this meeting. The first question I'll ask the Minister. Has the Minister ever made it known what we heard here today? Legislation is there, and there's no money to pay for it. MP Francisco La Cruz.
Madam Chair Lady, I'm going to start by echoing the same statement that the previous Speaker made. I thought this meeting would have gone different. Madam Chair Lady, I sat here listening, and I somewhat got very irritated. I have a perfect, in my opinion, working relationship with the Minister of Justice, with her staff. But what I heard today, I don't even know what to say about it. Madam Chair Lady, the Minister's last quote, behind every solution named today is a family that needed it sooner. Let us not do this. Let us do this work together so that every year the number is smaller and the year after that smaller again. Madam Chair Lady, we are here today because we called this meeting. The first question I'll ask the Minister, has the Minister ever made it known what we heard here today? Legislation is there and there's no money to pay for it. And if the Minister has done so, to whom? Because I have never heard this before. Madam Chair Lady, it cannot be that after something happens, this information comes forward. And this is not just an advice to this minister, the Minister of Justice, but to all ministers. If you are encountering a problem that you need help, the way it comes across today, as if it's a budget problem, then do not wait until last minute, because then it looks as if we're just deflecting and we're blaming everything and everyone else except who's responsible. Madam Chair Lady, I am one of those that ask a lot of questions because I do the work paying attention to the budget and seeing and making and bringing ideas and amendments. I have not heard this at any time before. Madam Chair Lady, the coalition exists. It's 9 members. I cannot understand in no way whatsoever what the minister is saying, that we need to bring the amendment. This should have been a solution because the problems are clear. This is a problem of life and death. This should have been on the table. This should have been in this budget. This could have been in the budget before. And if these legislations were in place in 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, Madam Chair Lady, then I blame everyone that was there before, including my party. If we were there and it never got there before, then there's no excuse. What I am saying today is this should have been in this budget. Madam Chair Lady, we are here today not because there was an accident, because we have had numerous accidents. Many have lost their lives. We are here today because of what transpired, which is simple. An individual had an accident, and the family felt robbed and cheated. Madam Chair Lady, my sentiments, if MP Lyndon Lewis and myself did not make any statements on Facebook, this would have been another case that would have gone straight under the table. And I'm not speaking on behalf of from the minister's perspective, but the only reason we got any response from the OM was because noise was made. And then suddenly there is a pending investigation. And I cannot understand that, Madam Chair Lady. I cannot understand that, and I refuse to ever believe that the Minister of Justice would sign off on a deportation document knowing that there's an investigation open. Madam Chair Lady, do we have any extradition treaty with Jamaica? Madam Chair Lady, how many individuals have been convicted in absentia and came back to do their time? We are all assuming that a crime was committed. Why do I say a crime? If the individual was under the influence and he was drunk and someone lost their life, there's no way I would want to understand that that person could walk away from something like that.
MP Ardwell Irian, Minister, I was wondering how you knew that I knew a little more scoring, because I started to see blinking and happening, and I realized what you were telling me was to help me. Help me, because the whole presentation was basically minutes of Parliament. I need help. You started with a budget, and it's very interesting to me, and even the point regarding the bill that was on screen, the unpaid document, and you asked Parliament to help you pay the minister. How did you pay so? Because he did not come to Parliament to help, you know? And again, it's not my words. These are the words of the budget that you and the cabinet ministers approve. And it's the words of the higher council, that I've been at least the council of advice that says in the budget is in Parliament that the government decided without the authority of Parliament to pay over $500,000. I believe the entity does not know the budget-speaking member of Parliament.
Minister, I was wondering how you knew that I knew a little bit of Morse code, because I started to see you blinking, and tapping, and I realized what you were telling me was, help me, help me. Because the whole presentation, your whole presentation was basically members of parliament, I need help. Members of parliament, I need help. And you started off with the budget, and it's very interesting to me, and even the point regarding the bill that was on screen, the document that was unpaid, and you asked Parliament for us to help you pay. But Minister, through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask the Minister, how did you pay Soul Beach? Because he did not come to Parliament to help pay that. And again, it's not my words. These are the words of the budget that you and the Council of Ministers approve. And it's the words of the higher council, the Ravana Vice, the Council of Advice, that says in the budget that's here in Parliament, that the government made a decision without the authority of Parliament to pay over $500,000, I believe it was, to an entity that's not in the budget. So when you're saying you need Parliament's help, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because the Council of Ministers have proven that when it comes to FET, it was important. But I believe also if it's important to pay for a FET, it's also important to be able to save a life or lives going forward. Through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask the Minister, is the Minister aware of the comments from the Ravana Vice? Because it was not only Soul Beach, it was other items in the budget that were also paid, where the Council of Advice doesn't just say that it was not of Parliament without our authority. It said it was basically illegal. And they also asked, what are you going to do about it as a government? The government just said, noted, thanks. Moving on. Through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask the Minister, is the Minister aware of and this is very interesting because it comes from a particular party that's very big on procurement, the PFP party. Through you, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask the Minister, are you aware that the Ministry of Rummy is being audited right now for hiring companies or making payments without going through procurement process? Again, I could go down a list of items, and it's going to be very interesting when it comes to budget debate about payments being made without the authority of Parliament, without the budget. So, Minister, I want to help you. But the Council of Ministers already have helped themselves many a times. So again, I don't believe that things can't get paid. What I believe is the government doesn't think it's a priority. And those are not only my words, those are your words, because you're saying the Council of Ministers approved 2026. The Minister of Finance has said that the Council of Ministers has unanimously approved, all 7 ministers approved the budget 2027, and now we're saying, members of Parliament, I need help.
MP Irian, with your indulgence, I'll allow MP La Cruz to make an interruption. MP La Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Madam Chair Lady, I need to highlight something that MP Irian just mentioned. Nowhere in the budget there's anywhere where government owe anybody. And this was a discussion that we've had, and I asked it. So where is that in the budget? A budget that has a surplus. I don't understand it. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP La Cruz. MP Irian, you may continue.
Thank you, MP. Madam Chair, so again, I want to help the Minister, and I believe others want to help also, but I'm not just saying that I want to help, Madam Chair. Some of us then are members of Parliament of Action, because the Minister also mentioned we don't have the budget, we don't have any revenue. But the Minister, I must assure you, Madam Chair, I know obviously also realized that the budget came in with no revenue generating measures. 2024, 2025, 2026, none. Good. But Parliament wants to help, because we called a meeting from over a year ago related to revenue generating measures. But guess what? The Minister said she's not coming. Both ministers said they're not coming. They have other priorities. Over a year ago, Parliament wants to help, and I want the general public to understand that Parliament wants to help. We want to help fix the budget. We all have ideas on revenue generating, but the coalition, the government, the ministers does not want Parliament help. So again, Minister, I believe you had the right intentions with your presentation, but I don't believe that the government wants help. Otherwise, they would execute. Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to ask the Minister, which legislation is being done right now by the Ministry of Justice? Where is it in the timeline, the process? And when can we expect it in Parliament? Because we are ready to support and get it approved.
MP Lyndon Lewis, the Minister of Justice. But you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Minister of Justice, I had about 40 questions prepared, but it seems that I have to deviate from these questions. Based on your presentation, you're saying that you, Minister of Justice, will go on to a point. We have laws already. We must stop trying to misinform the public. Yes, the traffic light is updated, but we have lost. What you also fail to understand is that I was not only the Minister of Justice. I grew up in the police force of the Netherlands Antilles. I joined the police force.
I would like to say 3 short quotes by Dr. Martin Luther King. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Justice too long delayed is justice denied. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. Madam Chair, I've listened to the presentation of the Minister of Justice, but you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Minister of Justice, I had about 40 questions prepared, but I seem that I have to deviate from those questions. Based on your presentation, and like you say in Dutch, je uitlatingen. Minister of Justice, I will go on to a point where you mentioned that the provisions of the law and the provisions of the law and the law needs to be amended, etc., Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we have laws already. We must stop trying to misinform the public. Yes, the traffic law is outdated, but we have laws. What you also fail to understand, Madam Chair, is that I was just not only the Minister of Justice. I grew up in the police force of the Netherlands Antilles that turned into the police force of St. Martin. And when testing a drunk driver, the law provides, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because my supervisor is sitting down right there, Ms. Keisberta. We can test them by the watery tongue. We can make them walk in a certain line. We can also have their blood tested. I would like us to go back in time, Madam Chair, hence the reason I spoke about class justice. The former Minister of Rummy had a fender bender. And the prosecution made sure he was dragged straight to the extent of the law, where his blood was tested for alcohol and he was convicted. So who are we trying to fool here today? Madam Chair, no immigration deportation law can supersede a criminal investigation. Never, ever. Minister, my colleague Duran spoke about honesty. In other words, he said the truth. Minister of Justice, people like to talk about grandstanding, talk about politics, all kind of nonsense. But I have represented this country in many different aspects, even in standing up in that court next door without a law degree. And I've beaten many lawyers over 100 times. So this person cannot be fooled. If you did not know, the victim mother worked in the court system for many years. Minister, I contacted you personally because I don't want nobody to say tomorrow that Lyndon is grandstanding. I made the effort and I reached out. I also indicated to you that I am not contacting you to discuss an investigation. We basically spoke briefly, and in that content, I mentioned that the individual, I understood that the individual was going to be released and turned over to the Immigration Department. And I said, if that is the case, Minister, this is prematurely, and I will repeat so that the public can understand, prematurely being done if there's an active investigation. Madam Chair, when I stood here or sat and I mentioned that on the floor of Parliament, I understood that the Immigration Department was going with the individual to the airport that same minute. The people of this country, some reached out to me, angry with immigration officers. I said, why are you guys angry with the immigration officers for? Why did they deport him? I said, but the immigration officers are carrying out their duty. How you mean they're just carrying out their duty? The man was arrested and a case is pending. Again, I will reiterate, a case is pending. I said, do you all know who is responsible for deportation? Do you know who signs off on deportation? The Minister of Justice. I was also the Minister of Justice. All 10 at night, 11 at night, I was called even to sign off on deportations, Madam Chair. Again, I will sit here. And this meeting was called because I wanted to hear the plan of the minister. Madam Chair, I haven't heard any plan. I haven't heard any plan. The minister sat there with no plan. The minister came in here to tell us as honorable members what we need and should do. Madam Chair, the Minister of Justice is a meester in rechten, is a master of law. The Minister of Justice, Madam Chair, as far as I know, were busy with projects and legislations in the past. The Minister of Justice sits here and try to twist and turn things that we, as members of Parliament, need to come with legislation. The Minister of Finance comes here moreover in this honorable house with law initiatives for this country. My question to the dear Minister of Justice, what law initiative have you come forward with as a lawyer, as a justice minister, for the betterment of this country?
This is Now You Know with Valerie Van Putten, speaking to Deputy Director of SZV, Elton Felici. But since taking on the role as Deputy Director, I have identified a lot of areas that you would like to improve. It becomes as it comes, not at a pivotal time. Talk to us about your plans. I think, in general, the strategy that we chose, we didn't get that much from it. The core of it is one is financial sustainability. The other one is to be people-centric, mean both the clients and the employees. We put the people at the center of our operations, and those are the two pillars that we are building, the new SZV.
Since taking on the role as Deputy Director, I don't know how long that has been, a couple of months?
A couple of months,
couple of
yes.
months. You have
Last
a lot
year,
of...
October.
Oh, okay, okay. So you have a lot of areas that you would like to improve.
Yes,
And as it
correct.
comes now at a pivotal time, talk to us about your plans.
Okay. I think in general, the strategy that we choose, we didn't deviate that much from it. Core of it is, one is financial sustainability. The other one is to be people-centric. And people-centric mean both the client and the employees. So we put the people at the center of our operations.
Okay.
And those are the two pillars that we are building, the new SZV. And as you know, also in the media, it also came out that we are paying a lot of attention on our financial sustainability. And therefore, we're doing quite a bit of, we're doing measures. We're trying to cut waste based on those measures. We're coming to use more technology to be more efficient, et cetera, et cetera. And based on all of these different items that we're trying to implement in the next 2 to 3 years, we are very, very confident that the organization will be both financially sound and also people-centric at the same time.
You spoke about waste. What kind of waste are you trying to get rid of? Sort of like streamline
Yes.
and make it more efficient.
So there's different, once you are in healthcare, there's different type of waste. Let me give an example, and we get also the feedback from our clients in that sense. If they go to the lab, for instance, and your general practitioner sends you to the lab to do a couple of tests, and then you go to your specialist, and the specialist sends you with the same list, with the same tests to do again. Those are the type of ways that we try to prevent
duplicating.
by using technology, etc., etc. I think the same thing can be said. One of the things that we're planning on coming with in the next couple of months, I think everybody will hear about it, is also we have a MySLV Companion app. Yes, and this app is going to give every client a QR code. So once you reach by the healthcare provider, you're going to show the QR code, and that's going to be a real proof that you were there. And that also is a way to, cut waste, etc. Because sometimes people tend to say they were there, but they weren't there. So those things are we doing actually to help really, really cut waste, and then whatever is provided, we pay also accordingly.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm smiling or I'm laughing because I can see some seniors now. Something else I got to get used to. Something else I got to do.
But everybody get accustomed to WhatsApp,
everybody
right?
gets, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's talk about the people of St. Martin will be watching this new leadership, because you're under new leadership right now, and they'll be watching you closely, especially the seniors, I can say for that. But what would you say to someone in our community who is skeptical and who has heard promises of change before and is still waiting to see whether the time will be any different?
Yes. So it's one of the things that I can say, and a lot of time people underestimate, once you want to have change within an organization, especially structural change, it takes time.
Okay.
You need to prepare not only the client, but also the internal staff. So it will take time to basically manifest, and that the client will experience the change that we want. Now, there's a lot of change that happened through the years with SLV, especially the low-hanging fruits. Those we did quite a bit of them. Just to give a couple of examples, a couple of years ago, everybody needed a card. Nowadays, nobody.
Nobody needs a card anymore, right?
Nobody uses a card anymore. So that's a quite drastic change. And now we want to go.
And it saves you a lot of money, right?
Yes. It saves us a lot of money.
No
It saves
printing any
also the
cards
client a trip to SLV, come with all the documents to get a new card, etc., etc. So it helps both ways, right?
Okay.
And it also helps the healthcare provider, so they just go in the portal and they can find out if the client is insured, yes or no. The only thing the client has to walk with is the ID card. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Instead of walking with your pocketbook with a bunch of cards, we managed to take one off
Okay.
the list. Yes.
Okay. Now, before you...
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to add that what we're trying to do is more to prove that the change is coming. So you will eventually see the drastic improvement in the service, and that I would say you will feel the change from SLV and the way we deliver in service on the island.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SZV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SZV is cardless. Request your MySZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
Simpson Bay, the notice of race for the 47th St. Martin Heineken Regatta, is now live on yacht scoring, and registration is officially open for sailors eager to secure their place in the Caribbean's biggest and most exciting sailing event. March 4th to 7, 2027. Leading the charge are the defending 2026 St. Martin Heineken Regatta champions, Morzessin, the first team to register for the 2027 edition. Their early commitment sets the tone for a regatta that celebrates not only world-class competition, but also the family legacies and generations of sailors that continue to shape St. Martin's rich maritime heritage. Representing St. Martin, the J105 Morzessin captured the overall winner title in 2026, a remarkable achievement in a fleet of more than 100 boats and sailors representing over 35 nations. The victory was a source of immense local pride, demonstrating that a dedicated local keelboat team could rise to the top against an international field of seasoned competitors. The win also marked a passing of the torch. Owner-tactician Ryan Hope Ross led the team to victory while continuing a family sailing legacy established by his father and helmsman, Ian Hope Ross. As Ryan takes the helm for the next generation, Morzessin returns to defend its title and inspire a new wave of local competitors. Morzessin kept a great pace amongst a competitive fleet at the 2026 St. Martin Heineken Regatta. Lawrence Morel. Having a local team win the St. Martin Heineken Regatta is always special, said Carrie Byerly, regatta chair. Our island has a deep sailing heritage, and seeing that legacy continue through the next generation of sailors is exactly what makes this event so meaningful.
My name is Guus van der Vis. I'm sailing on Team Yayo. We're doing this weekend the Heineken Regatta here in St. Martin.
It's been blowy. We practiced the last 2 days. It's been very blowy, 17 to 20 with gusts to 28, so we'll see.
We are pretty motivated. There are definitely some challenges, the technical challenges by us, but the human spirit is more important.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Wednesday midday. Partly cloudy and slightly hazy. Isolated showers are likely. Surface winds, today through Wednesday midday, east-northeast to east-southeast with a light to moderate breeze at 6 to 14 Helmrey-Mav. State of the sea, smooth to slight. Wave swells 1 to 4 feet. Outlook through Thursday midday, variably cloudy and slightly hazy with scattered showers, and now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
After nearly 5 months in the Caribbean, Captain Marnix looks back with pride on the development of the Bravo Steer Company. During this period, the unit conducted extensive training on Curaçao, Bonaire, and Aruba, as well as in the United States. The soldiers worked on their physical and mental development, leadership, and military skills. Through various exercises, the company made strides in its performance as a combat unit. The platoons executed multiple missions, supported by assets such as snipers, Mortar squad, and unmanned systems. These training activities contributed to the soldiers' continued development and the unit's operational readiness. The company also collaborated with Caribbean military personnel, CARMIL, and other units under the commander of naval forces in the Caribbean, CZM-CRIB. Despite differences in background and working methods, they trained together and worked towards ensuring security and stability in the Caribbean part of the kingdom. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.